we're going to talk about the Marvel Value Stamp, which books it's in, how to identify them, and how does it affect the value of the book. Coming up next on this video from Bronzeville Comics. Finally, I figured out the 3,500 subscriber giveaway. We're going to be giving away this copy of Flash Rebirth, #1, reintroduction of Barry Allen to DC Comics, Secret Wars Battle World #1, and Invincible Iron Man 170 newsstand. First time that Rhodey puts on the Iron Man armor. These are going to be the giveaway. The way to enter the giveaway, the 3,500 subscriber giveaway, is we're going to do the drawing on Tuesday the 7th, March 7th at 10 p.m. Eastern. And in order to be eligible, you have to be a subscriber to the channel. You have to have liked the video and left a comment. What I'm going to do is, of all the videos that I recorded and dropped during the month of February, I'm going to pick the one with the fewest comments at the time of the drawing, and that's going to be the one. We're going to randomly select one winner, and you're going to get all 3 of these books. I will ship internationally, so if you're interested, subscribe to the channel, like the video, leave a comment on any of my videos from February, and the one that has the fewest comments when we do the drawing on March 7th is going to be the one that we'll select the winner from. Good luck. Hey there, comic book community. Welcome to another video from Bronzeville Comics. Follow us on the other socials. I'm on Instagram at Bronzeville_comics. Also on Whatnot, Bronzeville_comics. We do sales every Monday night at 10 p.m. Eastern Time. If you're not yet signed up for Whatnot, there is a link in the description. If you use that, you get $10 off your first purchase, whether it's with me or another vendor. Also, in the description of this video is a link to my eBay store and my email, and a link to the website for the King Con 4 show coming up just later this month, March 25th and 26th in Island, New Jersey. So if that weekend you're anywhere around central New Jersey, come on down. It's a great show. So many people from the comic book community. You'll have a great time. So we're going to talk about in this video is the Marvel Value Stamp. The Marvel Value Stamp is something that Marvel placed in about 420 different comic books between early 1974 and mid-1976. It wasn't every single issue, but it was a lot of them. And the value stamp could be clipped out by collectors, by kids, put together. The second wave of the value stamps in 1976 kind of put together a puzzle. The first wave was character created. And what happens is it decreases the value of the book because something is clipped out. Now, generally speaking, it is not on or opposite a story page. It's usually kind of on like a text page with an advertising page behind it. However, it still diminishes the value of the book. And the way that CGC grades books that are missing the Marvel Value Stamp is as a qualified grade, which gets a green label. Now, green label can include other things, other pieces of the book missing, or writing on the book, because CGC does not verify signatures. If somebody signed the book and it wasn't witnessed by CGC, they will put down that it's qualified and has writing on the cover. Not so much on the interior, which is the way that artists and writers used to sign comic books, like on the bottom of the splash page inside. But here's an example of one of the books with a Marvel Value Stamp. Now, one of the things to look for is almost all of them are 25-cent books. The first several months are 20 centers, and at the very end, it's got that kind of starburst, still only 25 cents. So this is Hulk 179. I know. And the way for the vast majority of these, there are a couple that are not 25 centers. There are a few giant size books, which I believe they're all 50 cents. But basically, it's that time period when the books were 25 or 20 or 25 cents. So what you can do is if you find the centerfold and you turn to the very next page, so it would be essentially page 19, that's where you find the Marvel value stamp. And it's usually in this position on the right-hand side, about 2/3 of the way down the page. And you can see it's on a text page, and the very next page is an ad page. So generally speaking, it does not affect the story, but it's still going to get you that green qualified label, qualified grade. So as I said, there are about 420 comics that include this. I'm going to look at 20 of the highest value ones, and then when we get to the about the top 10, we'll look at census count and value. So what you want to do is recognize these books when you're looking at them. In general, any books that are 25 cents kind of do a double take. I believe Key Collector lists all the books with Marvel value stamps, but I'm not positive. You can correct me in the comments if that's incorrect. But if you have a 25 center or a late 20 center, basically it's the late 20 centers. The earlier 20 centers are those picture frame covers. Just a quick example of what I mean by a picture frame. It's one of these where the border went entirely around and the graphics that are not part of the trade dress are just in a picture frame. Sometimes they burst out from it like they do here. But that's basically almost all the Marvel books. This is from 1972. It's Marvel Spotlight 6, second appearance of Ghost Rider. Most of the books from this era, from 72, 20 centers are picture frames. Those are too early to have the Marvel value stamps. So picture frames, you don't have to worry. It's just a handful of the late 20 centers that could have Marvel value stamps. Almost all of the Marvel value stamps are in 25-cent books. So let's take a look at the top 20. What I did was I just looked at all the books that had Marvel value stamps and picked out the ones that in very fine condition, according to cover price, had the highest value. So this is not a definitive list, and some I'm like, why are they behind the others? But anyway, let's take a quick look at these, and then when we get to the higher price books, we'll look at value and census count. Number 20, Amazing Spider-Man 144. This is the first appearance of the clone of Gwen Stacy. Number 19, Fear number 31, the final issue of the series. Number 18, Thor 229, which is a book that has an advertisement for Hulk 181. Number 17, and this is one of the handful of giant-size books that has a Marvel stamp. This is Giant-Size Fantastic Four, number 4. The first appearance of Jamie Madrox's The Multiple Man, which has been on hot lists lately, and I have no idea why. Another book that on hot lists, and for more of a reason, I think, is Astonishing Tales number 25, the first appearance of Deathlock, and the first published artwork of George Perez. Number 15 on the list, Fear number 24, the first time that Blade and Morbius encounter each other, and it's the first time that Blade is seen outside of the Tomb of Dracula series. Number 14 on the list is Amazing Spider-Man 134, the first appearance of the Tarantula and a cameo appearance of the Punisher. Thor number 225, the first appearance of Firelord, a herald of Galactus. Number 12, Amazing Spider-Man 136, the first time that Harry Osborn is seen as Green Goblin. And number 11, Tomb of Dracula 18, the first crossover with the Werewolf by Night, the first time we see Dracula and Werewolf by Night together. So those are numbers 11 through 20, and those are all books that in higher grade are probably going to cost you close to $100. So if you're spending $60, $80, $100 on a comic book, make sure it's complete. If you're at a show, ask the dealer if you can look at the book. If not, they can look at the book just to verify that the Marvel value stamp is there. Now, there are other ways that books can get qualified grades and other things can be missing. Books, Bronze Age books, but especially older, can be missing pages, be missing centerfolds, things can be clipped out, and a lot of things can go past one's notice. I got a Batman Beyond #1 as part of a lot, so I didn't pay much for it. And it looked really nice. I went to press it. A coupon had been clipped out. I think it was for Great Adventure. This is something that is commonly missing. Let's look at number 10, and we'll start to talk here about census numbers. And this is Avengers 144, the first appearance of Hellcat. Of 978 books on the census, only 12 are qualified. Now, we don't know if all the qualified books are qualified due to a missing Marvel value stamp. They could be signed. But odds are, if they're from this era, they're going to be because they're missing the Marvel value stamp. That's only 1.2% of all graded books. And we'll talk about that percentage as we move, what that percentage means as we move on the list. In terms of price, the most recent sale of a qualified book was a 9.4 last year that sold for just $27, not even slab cost. So I don't think this is a valuable enough book. Maybe if you thought you had a 9.8. I guess they gave a 9.4. I guess it's possible they'd give a 9.8 qualified. If it's missing a Marvel value stamp. It might not be possible to get a 9.8 if it's missing the MVS. Let me know if you know of any books. I just quickly checked the census of Hulk 181, and that only has 296s qualified. And those, I'm not sure if they're missing the Marvel value stamp or maybe they were signed. So I'm going to guess since something's missing, it's going to be difficult to get a 9.8. Anyway, this is not a book that that's difficult to find in mid-grade for a decent price. So I don't think a lot of people are going to, A, get this book slabbed, and B, pay for it if it is slabbed. It's not as huge a key as some other books. Number 9 on the list is Doctor Strange #1. The first time he is in a #1, he had an ongoing series earlier. This is his second ongoing series, but the first time it starts with #1. 3,042 on the census, 82 are qualified. That's 2.7%. Now, 9.4 just sold, I think last month, for $216. The FMV of a 9.4 blue label is $425. That is 49% discount. So a loss of 49% in value because it was qualified. Number 8, Tomb of Dracula, number 25. This is the first appearance in Origin of Hannibal King. Not a book that's graded too often. There are only 274 total on the census, and 4 of them are qualified. So not a book that's graded awful lot, and there aren't many recent sales. Number 7. This is kind of interesting. It's X-Men 97. 97 was the only X-Men issue that was qualified. Now, part of that is because they were in reprints. I don't even know whether they were being printed in the time that the first wave of Marvel value stamps came out. But 97 is the first cameo appearance of Lilandra. And there are 1,964 slabs on the CGC census. 45 of them are qualified, 2.3%. So, again, reasonably small percent, 2.3%. We're assuming the majority of those are Marvel value stamps missing. And there are no recent sales of either Tomb of Dracula 25 or X-Men 97. Incredible Hulk 182, the third appearance of Wolverine. That has 4,020 books on the census, and 148 of those are qualified. That's 3.7%. So that's higher than the books that we've seen come before it. A 5.5 sold last month for $90. FMV on a 5.5 is $230. That is a 61% discount. Number 5 on the list, Amazing Spider-Man 135, the second full appearance of the Punisher. There are 2,885 slabs on the census. Only 69 of those are qualified, 2.4%. So a little bit less than Hulk 182. A 7.0 last sold in June for $149 at a time where 7.0's blue labels were selling for about $200. Only 26% loss in value there. Number 4 on the list, Daredevil 131, the first appearance of Bullseye, a very desired book. There are 4,040 of those on the census, and 252, or 6.2%, are qualified. A 9.2 in July, a qualified 9.2 sold for $300 at a time where the FMV was roughly $700. That's about a 57% discount. Number 3 on the list, Marvel Premiere number 15, the first appearance of Iron Fist. There are 4,358 on the census. 163 of those are qualified, which is 3.7%. A 6.0 sold in December for $118 when the FMV was about $180 for a 6.0. That's a 34% loss in value for the qualified grade. Now, these other two books actually have FMVs for both qualified as well as universal. Incredible, and they're related, and there's no surprise as to which the two books will be. Number 2 is Incredible Hulk number 180, the first cameo appearance of Wolverine. There are 6,587 copies on the census. 374 of those are qualified. That's 5.7%. That is the highest number that we have seen thus far. So Hulk 181, more submissions, more qualified labels, and a higher percentage of qualified labels. FMV of an 8.5 is $1,000 qualified, and $2,000 blue label, 50% loss in value for the qualified label. And to no one's surprise, Hulk 181, which has a Marvel value stamp of Sheena in it. No, I'm sorry, Shayna. Sheena is a completely different character. Shayna the She-Devil has... there are, for Incredible Hulk 181, the first full appearance of Wolverine, there are 16,552 on the census, much more than any of the other books we've discussed. 1,030 of those are qualified, much more than any other book we've discussed, and 6.2, that's a 6.2% total, which is the same percentage as the Bullseye. The FMV for an 8.5 qualified is $4,049. The FMV for a blue label 8.5 is $7,500. That's a 46% discount. All that information, what conclusions can we draw? I think for the first Bullseye, the first Wolverine, those are more desired books. They're more difficult books to obtain in high grade. So they're pricier in high grade. So it's not surprising that people will submit and purchase qualified books just to get one in their collection. If you can get a reasonably high grade book that's qualified, if you're a collector and you can't, afford the same grade in the blue label, you might settle for the green label. Or in terms of census count, if you have one that is missing the Marvel stamp but is still pretty high grade, you can still submit it, knowing that you're going to get the green label, but at least you know what you have. One of the things about the green label that's a positive is that you don't have to check. You know that it's there. But if you're looking at raw books, these 20 are books to keep an eye out for, to take a minute, look to make sure the Marvel value stamp is there. Even if you see on Whatnot, somebody's going through and you see one of these books and you're interested, just type in the chat, does it have the MVS? Okay, be careful. I try to remember, especially with bigger books, to show that the Marvel value stamp is intact, but I don't always remember to do that. But this is just, you get the opportunity to see the covers of these 20 books and to maybe recognize them if you see them out in the wild or see them on eBay or on Whatnot or something. Now, if you do see a raw book on eBay and it doesn't have an actual picture of the Marvel value stamp, ask for one. Okay? Unless the deal is ridiculous, ask for it. Unless you are willing to accept a qualified grade because the price is that good, that's possible. That's up to you. But that's something to look out for. And also, I think when we look at the values these books have sold for, and this is not a new idea. I've seen people say it. We talk about it in terms of restored books also, 50%. I think 50% is a pretty good rule of thumb. The Hulk book is 46% down on 181 and 50% down on 180. The Bullseye is 57% down. That was a one-off sale in July. And the Marvel premiere, the Iron Fist, is 34% down. So, be aware of that difference in value. And if you're just a collector and you want to collect the key, collect the run, want to spend a little bit less, If you can get it for half price, is missing the Marvel value stamp. If that doesn't bother you, that's great. But understand what you're buying. And as I said before, 20 and 25 cents, other than giant size. Regular 32-page comics, 20 and 25 centers are the only ones you have to watch out for. If it's 30, if it's 35 cents, 15 cents, 20 cents with a picture frame, it's not going to have a Marvel value stamp. You don't have to worry about it. There are resources where you can, I'll actually put a link in the description to a website that has a list of all of them if you want to peruse that. And then maybe you might want to look through your own books to make sure those Marvel value stamps are intact if you're unsure. So anyway, let me know what you think about this video in the comments. I appreciate everyone for stopping by. You can take a look at a couple of my other recent videos here. And this is Jim saying until next time, enjoy your comics.